fine.
So,
let me
Penny, you wanna introduce yourself? Or not to hijack the meeting then, if you want to do it more formally.
Hi. I think I've met most everybody at the celebration for Robin. Leanne, I see you when you come in and always are so sweet to bring us goodies. I'm a legal clerk and I was just interested in attending a meeting. I've never attended one.
Oh, great. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you.
And in doing so, Penny reminded me that we don't usually have staff attend meetings, and I thought, but sometimes people are interested, so I thought maybe in the future we will, and it's really not up to me anymore. It's up to Marcus and Heather.
Actually,
Heather
went to a different room.
Yeah, she went to the Teams meeting probably.
Yeah. Let me call her.
Okay.
Or I'll go to her door. Hold on.
Yeah. I'll try to send her an email with the agenda.
Yeah, because I was able to open it up with the link that you sent.
Okay.
Oh, is she here? Should I tell Marcus? I see him. I think she's coming on, Marcus. Is she coming on?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Great. Thank you. Stop him before he goes to the other end of the office.
Wait. Oh, here he is.
Yeah, but I think it would be good if we just, and it's up to Heather and Marcus, obviously, but when people ask, I think it would be good if we just had like a couple of staff. We can't, it would impinge on office if we had everybody join, but you guys are so great and people are always asking and we're always saying, we have wonderful commissioners. So, just something to keep in mind in the future.
I think that's a great idea, especially if somebody's interested in coming to our meeting.
Right.
True.
Yeah.
Let me call the meeting to order. Our commissioners are all here. And then the first order of business is the approval of the minutes. Robin, thank you very much for consolidating them. They were for June 20th and then for July 25th. Does anybody have any corrections or edits to the minutes as circulated? I do not see any. William, you're okay? Okay. So then the minutes are approved as circulated. And then we move to the executive director's report.
Okay, thank you. Let me share my screen.
Marcus?
Yes.
Maybe Robin sent a nice email out advising us of Connie's status and everything, but we'd like to welcome Connie to the meeting.
Oh.
But maybe you might want to just.
Yeah. So, I think, well, I know everyone's met Connie. So our newly selected chief counsel starting September 1st, Connie Yonashiro. We're very happy to have you on board. You've been on board with the commission for a while. As you folks know, Connie's been one of our enforcement attorneys and has been doing some wonderful work for us on the enforcement side, and now she'll continue that on the adjudication side. So, Connie, welcome to your first meeting. I guess your first official meeting as chief counsel will be next time, but
right.
Welcome. Yeah.
Thank you. And I just want to say hi to everybody again, and that I'm really excited to be working with you all.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So I believe I'm sharing the mediation program. Can you folks see that?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So it's actually, so we're starting a new fiscal year as of July 1st. And so because we have not had a meeting for a couple months now, there's some like a newly started mediation program year-to-date report. And so it's very sparse. I'm not sure why it's so sparse, but so from the beginning of the fiscal year, July 1st through the present date, we've had 4 cases referred into the mediation process. We've had just 1 case go through mediation and did not result in a settlement. And so that was, I'm going to scroll to the bottom, through a private mediator. And we haven't had too many cases with private mediators recently. So for whatever reason, that was through a private mediator. And so, yes, so we have no settlements up to this point, but I am confident that as the months go on, we will fill in with our results as we always do. As of now, just a 0% settlement rate, but very early on in the fiscal year. Don't anticipate there'd be questions on this, but anyone have any questions?
For
Oh,
private
William?
mediators, sorry, it's
Sure.
for private mediators, is there some sort of qualification? I mean, I'm assuming that both parties are involved in selecting the mediator. Or
They are. It's anyone who hangs out their shingle as a private mediator and the parties agree to select and to pay. And so typically these are retired judges or mediators in general. And so there's a list. There are various organizations that you can go to select these mediators.
and both parties pay equally?
Not necessarily. I think it just depends on what the parties are willing to pay. And perhaps it depends who proposes the mediation. But yeah, we don't get involved in that aspect because, we encourage in-house mediation for our housing cases, and we encourage community mediation centers for everyone else. And, we think they do just as good or better a job than some of these private mediators. So that's just our opinion. Yeah. Yeah. And for a much lesser fee, not to say anything about that, but generally it's a lesser fee. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Moving on then to the caseload report. And so this is not beginning a new fiscal year. It's reporting on our caseload as of today and seeing what changes were from the last report, which was about 2 months ago. And so presently we have 345 open cases in our caseload. And you can see from the changes that there have been cases closed all throughout our process, from 2018, 2019, et cetera. So that's actually a pretty good sign. We got a good number of spread out closures here. Also, we had since last report 31 complaints filed, which is a pretty sizable number. So just one additional case from the last report. Going down to the case aging, I won't say this is completely significant, but I do think that the oldest category of cases, I am seeing a very gradual reduction in that number, in that percentage. Not really that statistically significant, but I think it may be a start of a trend as we try to tackle some of these cases. So overall, I'd say not much difference between last report and this report. We do have still, far too many cases in that oldest category, which we are always making a very concerted effort to address. Okay. And then, yes.
Marcus, I just wanted to make a comment that you are addressing the aging of the cases and that 29.3% as 2 years or older by filling the vacancies that you have, and so that has made some progress, right, on kind of getting that down.
Some progress. I think we've discussed this before, but it's most times, almost every time, it's not realistic to think a newly hired investigator would be able to investigate cases right away. They have to be trained. They have to start with intake generally and sort of understand the process and then move on to the investigation of cases. And I will say that the oldest category of cases, they are in that category for a reason. Something is about them is an outlier. And so they may be more complex cases. They may be cases where we have trouble finding parties or witnesses. And so, I mean, it does take a little bit of additional experience, I would say, for most of those cases to be assigned to an investigator. So it's a gradual process. I mean, but certainly filling positions is the first step in getting closer to tackling those cases. Yeah,
Thank you.
sure. The breakdown by type of case, nothing really jumped out at me as being unusual. And so, we do have, a fairly large number of housing cases in our caseload, 65, and a large number of cases in the response monitoring category, which means that cases have been filed, and then we are getting a response or asking for additional information to make sure we have enough to move the case forward. That's predictable, because the more cases we file, the more response monitoring needs to be done. Yeah, but nothing really jumped out at me as unusual here. And I'm going to skip down the fiscal year comparison. Even though the fiscal year is done, we won't add a new year's statistics until we actually have the official annual report out, which will be done in the next couple months, and we'll add the whole year's statistics for comparison purposes here. What I can tell you, though, is in terms of the current fiscal year, so from June 1st through today's date, and looking back for the past 4 years, the one thing that I like that I see is, and we've been talking about this, is the number of pre-complaint questionnaires received has been steadily increasing, and not quite at pre-pandemic levels, but approaching it. And so that's good. That means I think things are getting back to business as usual. And so we see 83 pre-complaint questionnaires received as opposed to 71 the previous period, 56 the previous period, etc. Pretty large number of intake decisions, meaning that we've taken in the pre-complaint questionnaires, we've done an intake interview or an intake assessment, and determined either that we're going to file the complaint or not file for jurisdictional reasons or other reasons. And so a very large number, 90, as compared to last reporting period, 47, 43, etc. And then the other numbers here are comparable, I would say, to previous years. So 27 complaints filed, 20 investigations closed, and very modest numbers, but early on for notice of cause and enforcement closure. So that's my report for this time. Anyone have any questions or comments on that?
Any questions?
Okay.
for us?
Not
I don't
seeing
have
any. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I will stop sharing here.
Thanks, Marcus.
Mhm.
Okay, so Robin, Chief Counsel's report.
Okay, let's see. No decision yet from the ICA on Morning Hill. Though we did just talk with the AGs about that, since all of the lawyers involved have left, since it's been pending 5.5 years. But yeah, no news. New docketed cases. There are 2 cases that were recently docketed. The 2 cases will likely be consolidated. It's the case is against the DOE, so Joan will be recused from any decision making in that case, which will be, into next year. But I just want to mention it because they're both against the DOE, both revolving around the same set of facts, Fleischer and Lanting. So we would never, of course, ask you to, even if you didn't have a conflict, we wouldn't want you to have to sit on a case against your employer. That's really awkward. Since there's 5 of you, it won't be a problem. There is, so the timeline, we don't exactly have a timeline. Right now, hearing should be in January, then decision would come out in March, so it wouldn't come to you until April 2024. It's pretty likely that it'll be extended. So if so, the extension would have to come to you for just for a 2-minute, approval of extension for good cause. But just so you know that something's coming down the pike, the case has not settled. It's probably unlikely to settle and will go all the way through hearing. Just to also let you know, and this is a bit messy, but Connie, as an enforcement attorney, will also have a conflict with this case because she's touched it. So we will be asking the Attorney General for counsel to deal with conflicts. That person, and we don't know who it is yet, will probably come out of the Labor Division, which is the division that represents us and the department. And she or he would probably meet with you twice, like once briefly at a meeting like this that's open to say, I reviewed the documents and think you should do an extension because there appears to be good cause. That we try to do that in open session because it's not exactly confidential. And then once like next April or May or June or whenever to talk about, to write a memo to you about the case. It'll probably be in some ways cleaner than the last case and probably more like Keona Boyd's case, but just to let you know that Connie will have a conflict and we're aware of that and we'll take it into account. I had the same issue when I joined. Let's see. Oh, I covered all of that. The next thing, let me see the agenda. Rule amendments. So HCRC has been planning changes to the rules probably since I was hired. And we've gone like through many changes here and there, but it was finally determined not to make too many changes, and they're all pretty minor. We wanted to change two things. You will get a packet on this sort of down the road, so I'm just going to rush through it. But I've already met with the Small Business Regulatory Review Board. We've asked DLIR to request permission from the governor to hold a public hearing. We're not sure of the timing, and especially with the Maui fires, anything through the governor's office is delayed. I actually had asked them not to even put it in yet since they're so busy. But and I'll put it up on the screen in a minute, what the change, some of the changes, though I'll send it to you as a packet. But let's see if I can, I probably need a lesson from Marcus to share my screen because I think, so hopefully
Yes.
you can see that.
Got it.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm looking at, we're looking at amending various definitions. The only ones that really matter are, because some of them come from other places in the statutes or other places in the rules, and we're just trying to make them consistent. The only one that really matters is we're making we're adding a definition of employment and final decision. The definition of employment is to determine if a complainant is an employee or an independent contractor. Currently, we use a definition from a commission declaratory relief decision from the 90s that includes at least 11 factors, but I think more. The proposed definition is the same one used by unemployment insurance, temporary disability insurance, and prepaid healthcare, and includes 3 factors. For those who do this kind of thing, it's actually used in about 20 some odd states, I think over half now. And there's a lot of California law on it. The other things are, you know, and I will email you a document for the next packet. There are things like allowing email, clarifying references that were like typos the first time round, allowing scans in addition to facsimiles. Again, service, we're adding service by email if the parties agree. We're just kind of trying to update things. We're proposing some changes in pregnancy, childbirth related medical conditions that will, first, I was doing that in order to sort of update it and eliminate gender references. Then the Pregnancy Fairness Act came out, so I pulled some language from that. You know, just some technical amendments. Hopefully I've stopped sharing. And I mention it because the next step in here in rule changes is, and it's massive. It's like the Small Business Review Board, the governor. We have a public hearing. Public hearings have to be noticed at least 30 days in advance. They have to go to the newspapers. Connie is nodding her head because she will be responsible for that. But you guys you as the commissioners have to be at the public hearing. It'll be remote like this. And so any date we pick out will be up to you. I mean, we will have lots of notice and we'll give you lots of notice. We'll open it up and you can, chances are nobody will show up. You know, we'll keep it open for half an hour and, you know, hopefully if people put in testimony ahead of time, we'll know that and provide it, but chances are nobody will show up because I've already opened it for comments when I went to the Small Business Regulatory Review Board and got comments from the management bar, which most of their comments we took into account and amended things. They don't like the definition of employment and would prefer that it be, I don't know why they want, I really can't say why they want this complicated definition, but the new definition will actually, it will make it easier to be an employee rather than an independent contractor. So businesses aren't like totally on board, but it's a really minute number of cases. So it's not a huge deal, but I just wanted to let you know that that's coming down the pike. I had hoped to get it all done by August, but I didn't. It was a lesson for me in how long it takes to do things bureaucratically. So, and I didn't start it till late, but you know, it's moving along now. So you'll probably have a public hearing in September, October, maybe even November. I will help Connie with the next steps. I told the Small Business Regulatory Review Board I'd be back to do their post-hearing stuff. I mean, but I will be available since I, you know, kind of know what's going on. But that's the end of my report.
Thanks, Robin. I just also wanted to raise with the commissioners that there are cases, and I would like to see a red line of the rules so that we can see what the changes actually are. I think the list is very good, so that's super helpful. We can also have it so that the chair or somebody else that's designated can actually preside over the public hearing. So we don't actually need all commissioners to be present, but if these rules are do have significant changes that have a wider impact and our commissioners all want to be in attendance, then I think that's important to do. Otherwise, I've had public hearings where the chair is the only person that sits there and takes in the public comment, and then staff will share that with the other commissioners, and then the commissioners will deliberate at a meeting and then make a decision. So that's something that the commissioners can decide on, but I think we kind of need to have just some time to look at the.
Oh, of course, and I meant to do it in the packet for today, but it's like, you know, you have to do it in advance, so I will actually send it out for the next meeting, like in the next week. The Ramsar version with the changes is on our website and has been because I invited public comment, so it's been up there for a while, and then I changed it with so the one up there now includes the changes from the Chamber of Commerce and Marjoram. So what I will do is send you 3 documents: the summary of the changes, the rules, which are like 100 and some odd pages where the changes are underlined and crossed out, and then I'll just send you a document with just the rules that are changed, because there's really like, that would only end up being like 15 pages, I think. I've not pulled it, but and as I said, most of them, other than the definitions, are pretty, they're just to sort of modernize things, because it has things like fax in there. Nobody has fax machines except law firms, and we may make further changes on depending on comments, because we haven't figured out, you know, we're doing e-sign. But I mean, there may be more changes that people recommend, but and we're open to that. But yeah, most of them are not particularly policy driven.
Okay.
But yeah,
I
and
think
everything Leanne said is a good point. That's, you might not all want to be there. And like I said, in recent times, other divisions in labor have said that nobody has shown up.
yeah. But thank you, Robin. That's a lot of work to get done. I've done administrative roles before, and it is a lot of work because you have a lot of government processes to go through. So thank you for getting us to this point. So that takes care of the chief counsel's report. And then I think we're going to announce our next meeting. That's next on the agenda. I would like to have a meeting in September. I think it would be nice for Connie to have a meeting. And so I'm hoping that we can do that at the end of the month, unless anybody has objections to that. Maybe like the 26th. Connie, we've been trying to do the 3rd, sometimes the 4th, Tuesday of the month at 2:00. That has worked so far. We try to work around everybody's schedules, and especially those folks that are teaching too, that have set times that they have to be somewhere.
Sadly, it is not going to be for teaching purposes, but I will not be available on if it's 26th. I am going to be on an Alaskan cruise.
Nice.
Fun.
Good for you.
That's great.
And I don't think that I'm going to be reachable, but I believe we have quorum without me. But if my presence is necessary, that date's not going to work.
With the 19th, what about the 19th, week before?
That I believe works. Let me just do a real quick check.
Can we make that one at 3 if it's on the 19th?
Yeah, that would be good for me too.
Okay. Is that okay?
That works for me.
And I'm just curious, Leanne,
Yes.
where we are in our calendar right now, unless
Okay.
something huge happens, that's not one of our heavy ones either, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
This is just a regular reporting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless something happens. But even Robin said like the hearings for the docketed cases, but you'll be recused, so you don't have to worry about that. The rules may be coming up in September. We could do it on October. And we usually skip a meeting in the fall, usually December. So not heavy until we get into January, and then
Okay. No, then the 19th at 3 is perfect.
okay.
And
For me, or just for me.
But
we usually skip 2 meetings. We usually skip December. Aside from the holidays, we're going to ask you to meet twice around the legislative session. So we always skip December. We usually skip one in the fall or the summer, but we've asked you to meet so much regarding personnel issues. So we would normally have skipped August or September. So, you know, but then again, our meetings have been very short. So we're cognizant of the fact that we're taking a lot of your time this year, and we really appreciate that. It's we've asked more of you commissioners this year than usual, and you know, so feel free to say, you know, that you can't make it or you want to skip a meeting in October, and even if it's like a vote or something, we can always have like a 15-minute meeting and just in and out.
okay, yeah, let's take that into consideration because I think during the holidays, especially, it gets quite hectic for everybody,
So
especially for our staff.
yeah, and so you may want to skip November too, because the third Tuesday is Thanksgiving week. So that's like, you know, it's 2 days before the holiday. So you might, you know, just be aware that we don't usually have a lot, and I shouldn't speak for Marcus, but we don't usually have a lot of business around now.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I agree. That's been my experience. So, and we have asked a lot of you this year. Thank you, commissioners.
Okay, so let's see. Can everybody meet September 19th at 3:00? John, William, Arsima. Okay, and then maybe we'll skip October and, well, maybe we'll do hearing in October and skip November and December, something like that. All right. And now we're on announcements. Are there any announcements? No announcements?
Well, if no one's gonna say anything, my announcement would be that sadly this is Robin's last meeting with us.
I forgot.
And on behalf of the commission, I would like to thank Robin for her many years of dedicated service, both as an enforcement attorney and as chief counsel and as a trusted advisor, friend, colleague, mentor, especially now to Connie. We're gonna miss you, Robin. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks. Thank you. That's very sweet of you. I know that as soon as you see my notes and how I organize myself, you'll be like, you won't miss me so much. You'll be like, oh, but it's really been wonderful to work here. It's been wonderful to work with you as commissioners. I mean, this is really, I mean, I've worked with the previous set of commissioners, but with you the longest in this job, and it's been really a pleasure. I really enjoy your take on things. You're all individuals, and you all really bring something that teaches me a lot. It's been great. It's been a really good experience, and of course, I've just loved working at the commission. It's really been an honor and a privilege. It was my dream job when I took it. It was actually the first job I applied for when I moved to Hawaii 30 years ago, and the job that I took as my last job. So I'm sad to leave, though. Looking forward to some time off. But it really has been an honor to work here, and I will miss it. I know that. And you may see me at a meeting, So who knows?
Thank you, Robin. You have served us very well. And you have been with, I think, me and Joan for the entirety. So we really, all of us, very much appreciate your service. It is so valuable for the operation of the commission.
That's kind of you.
Thank you for that. And I don't know, does anybody else have anything else to say? I want to keep the floor open in case you do.
Mahalo.
That says it all. Thanks,
We're jealous. Like, we want to retire.
Thanks, Robin.
No, thank you, Ursima. And
Robin, so when is your actual last day?
August 31st.
Got it.
Because the state sort of does that. And I'm sorry that my goodbyes seem to be really extended. It wasn't my intention, but it has been a while.
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
No, thank
it has
you.
been, I mean, that you have been our chief counsel, and some of the weirdest things that we've got going on has been, I don't know, it seems apropos that we were on a kind of a little crazy journey together. So thank you.
Thanks. No, and I really appreciate that, Joan, because I will say that we've had like more dog issues and COVID issues. You've been a great board throughout, I think, some unexpected issues, if not challenges. You've had to look at stuff that nobody should have to look at. So thanks.
Aloha.
That was a very nice lunch surprise party the other day.
Yes, it was. Thank you for coming. Thank you to those of you who could come for coming. It was nice to see you, and a surprise.
Thank you. Okay, we don't want to go, but we
Okay.
We all don't want to go now.
Yeah,
but
thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you again. And thank you everybody for joining. And we'll see you in September, and we will be looking forward to Connie's correspondence with us.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Have a great day.